Hello, hello, good people. Hello, welcome back to another episode of Make America Think Again with Vaughn. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the page. I really appreciate you all being here. Down below, you see the correct spelling of my name. You have my IG information and also my Cash App. So if you'd like to bless the channel. It'd be greatly appreciated. Welcome to everyone. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe right now. Hit that subscribe button, like and share any videos, because the point of this channel is to make America think. We all want to be critical thinkers. Okay, so here are some things, last things that I want to say about the Nolan, or in relation to the Nolan Wells case. Number one, dear Black people, when did we resume celebrating 4th of July? Don't y'all know? I don't know. I feel like maybe did part of the country miss that we don't really celebrate 4th of July like that? And the second thing I want to say is, why are y'all out here now? I'm not saying this about Nolan, because clearly his parents have indicated that he is a swimmer, a strong swimmer. So this is not pertaining to Nolan. But I've seen other videos. Some of y'all can't swim. Number one, learn how to swim. Number two, why are you out here on water with a bunch of white folks, especially when you can't swim? I don't understand it. Why are we going on boats? Why are we going to the pool? Why are we going to the lake when you can't swim? Catch those friends later. I will see you on ground. I'll come play some video games with you, whatever. I don't understand why you're going around water when you can't swim, especially with groups of people that you really don't know whether or not they're your friends. Now, I'm not saying that white people cannot be true friends to Black people. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that Black people can't be true friends to white people. I'm not saying that either. What I'm saying is, historically, in certain areas and parts of this country, there can be a lot of fake friends. Fake friends that will involve you and put you in situations that you might not walk away from. And y'all know what I'm talking about. So, why are we celebrating 4th of July in the first place? Celebrate Juneteenth and call it a second Juneteenth? I don't know. But I just don't understand people still celebrate 4th of July. I stopped that shit a long time ago. The next thing I wanted to touch on is, where are your people? Who are your people, and who else coming? Who else gonna be there? When did we stop asking these questions? Who are your people? I need to know who you're related to, who you're affiliated with, who I'm gonna be around, who else gonna be there. Because I might not want to associate with certain people. I might not want to be around. No, I shouldn't be around certain people. When did we stop asking these questions? Who are your people? What are they like? What do they do? What do they like to do? What have they done in the past? What have they been accused of doing in the past? I need to know all about your people, especially parents. You need to know their people and who all is going to be there. I have never, ever allowed my child to walk out of my house without asking who all is going to be there. Do you know who's going to be there? If you don't know who's going to be there, well, then you won't be there because you can't go. I just don't understand. Is this part of the gentle parenting? Y'all let me know. Let me know. I just don't understand it. Again, I'm not trying to blame anybody, but I've just seen not just the Nolan Wells case, but I've just seen case after case where there's a lot of young Black people in scenarios and situations that shit just a generation ago they would have never been in, because we weren't allowing it. Me as a parent, I wasn't allowing it. A Gen X parent, no, they can come to my house, but you can't go to theirs. My daughter knew not to ask me. Spend the night. Spend the night? Girl, you better get in that room. Uh-uh. So I just don't understand what has transpired here. Y'all let me know if this is some different type of parenting that I have missed. I have missed because there was a lot of questions that were asked of me, and I asked a lot of questions of my child when she was trying to go and be around other people. They're all welcome to come in my house. They're all welcome to come to my house. I will order pizzas. I'll make cookies, cupcakes, lemonade, all that. Come to my house. But you go to their house, and I don't know who all's there. And don't even try to ask me to spend the night somewhere. And then lastly, I want to say this, and this is actually for all the men. This is actually for all the men. Men, I need you to recognize that historically, you have been socialized to engage with your families in a certain way, which was not necessarily the healthiest of ways. And here's what I mean by this. And I think I've given you all this example before. Historically, society, especially here in America, they have taken all of the ability for men to express emotions and feelings out of the socialization of boys. So boys are raised, socialized to grow up without expressing a lot of emotion or feelings or even communication. And then they grow into these men that their emotional IQ is non-existent. They don't know how to communicate. Don't like you might, and hopefully you do love your family, love your children, but you don't necessarily know how to express that or how to communicate with your sons, your daughters, with your wives, with your, I'm going to say significant others, just to cover everybody. And here's the thing. And again, I'm not trying to criticize. I want to make this very clear. I'm not trying to criticize the Nolan Wells family, Wansley family. I'm not trying to criticize anybody. But what stood out to me was how the father communicated about his child versus how the mother communicated about her child. Same child, about Nolan. And I know that comes from a place of how dad was socialized and raised. So I want to say to all the men who can hear my voice, learn how to communicate and learn about your children and their personalities, their gifts, who they are outside of sports or activities you might engage with them in. That's just something y'all do. That's not who they are, is my point. So I would encourage you, if this is you, this was my dad. This is how my brothers grew up. This is how actually all of us grew up, because communication in our household, I mean, children were supposed to be seen and not heard in my household. So the communication was not there. That emotional connection was not there. And when we know better, we do better, right? So I would encourage you today, if you are if you are this person that communicates just about things that your child does, or you only really engage or communicate with them when they're trying to accomplish a goal, or whether it's with sports or with, I don't know, a work goal or whatever, really talk to them, figure out who they are as a human being. Like, what are your real interests? What do you believe your gifts are? Do I think my son is an emotional person? Do I believe that my son is a giving person? Do I believe that my just sit down and talk to who are they personally? So when you are communicating to and about your children, it's not just, well, we would practice together. We in the morning and the night, and I tell them, you got to make sure that you know this and handle your business and man up. That whole no, no, that's old school way that we were raised was not the healthiest, and that is evident. It is clearly evident in the way that we see men show up in the world today, just basically aggressive and constantly wanting to control everything. And if they can't go about doing it the way they want to, they're shooting something up, blowing up, exploding aggressively on people, etc. And just think about how different this world would be, our communities would be, our relationships would be if men really knew how to communicate emotionally, increase their emotional intelligence, and knew how to communicate with their children and their significant others on an emotional level, on a personal level. Not just this surface, are we going to practice together? You want to throw the ball around. Now you can talk about very personal things through those activities, but let it be more than just that activity. Do y'all get what I'm saying? Because if you really look at those interviews with the Wansley parents, Nolan Wells' parents, clearly mom could communicate about who her son actually was as an individual, as a person, a lot differently than dad was capable of doing. And there's a reason for that. And I'm not blaming dad at all. This is the way dad was conditioned and socialized himself. So that is what he is doing with his sons and with his own children. And we've got to break that cycle because, as I have told you before, we can keep our families in dysfunction. And if our families are dysfunctional, then our communities are going to remain in chaos. And we've got to nip that in the bud. And I believe that that really needs to start in our work with men, especially men in the African American community. No, I'm not going to say especially men in the African American community because there are a lot of white men out there shooting up places and behaving aggressively, etc., doing the same things. So yeah, I'm not going to limit it to just one ethnicity, but yeah, we got to do better. When you know better, you got to do better. And that's what I would say to all the men who are watching this video. Okay. I'll talk to everybody soon.